Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Ranwin Parked show. I never know whether to call this a show or a podcast, but it's something, and it has to do with myself, Dodger, Kurt J. Mac, and ZK looking at the weird, interesting, and wanted cars from the internet.
Wowing them.
I was practicing that one. That's a very hard word to put anything else on. Mostly because it's not a word. All right, so I don't think we have any Kurt J. Mac news this week, if that's true.
That is true. I claim that I do not have any new news or new
There's
cars
no
in my
news.
garage.
No news of news. But I feel like we're owed a little bit of an update as to what I think is now it's like the Ranwin Parked, not Halo car, but like it's our marquee. it's the car that exists because of the show.
Are you speaking of the
Tell us.
SVX?
Yeah, I want to know. Like, it's been a little while, and you actually have owned it now. So, what's it like?
It is, as they all are, been just filled with mistakes. Well, as I mentioned last time, the radiator has a crack in it, which is very common for the SVXs. And they're very specific radiators, so you can't just buy an off-the-shelf one or find one from an old Legacy or anything like that. So I patched it with some JB Weld, and that's been holding. But you all, the viewers and you lot, let me down and didn't find a radiator for me. So my girlfriend had to find me a radiator all the way over in Colorado at some pick and pull and pull, sure. And they were.
Yeah.
It's very convenient. They picked and pulled and shipped it right out to me, and I have it, and it looks good. So in the near future, a radiator swap is due, and they also included a driver's side window regulator because that thing failed spectacularly. But it thankfully, this most recent time, failed in the up position as opposed to the down position. So we'll be replacing the window regulator as well.
I assume the SVX has a electric radiator fan?
Yes, 2.
Oh, okay.
I was just actually a blessing.
Yeah, I was just thinking of how awful that might end up being.
Oh, I'm sure it'll still be awful.
Yeah, it is some tight packaging up there.
Yeah, I don't have the money to like have somebody else do it for me, so it'll be an interesting learning experience for me.
I would suggest, unless they're stupid crazy, like the radiator itself, is to just go ahead and get some new radiator hoses. Just have them on hand. You can always take them back if needed.
So, if anybody wants to help me track down radiator hoses for a Subaru SVX,
no. Don't tell me those aren't available either.
I don't know. I haven't searched, but hopefully, because it's that weird 45-degree angle top radiator hose thing. It's not normal. We'll see. Yeah, that was something the hoses, and also the transmission runs a line through the radiator for the transmission cooler. And that's just normal rubber hose, but that would probably, I got to see how that actually works and learn about that.
It's just going to be messy.
Yep.
It'll bleed a little bit, and that'll be okay. Usually, there's not a ton of transmission fluid in there, but you might have to top it off a little bit.
You can like crimp the lines or shove a little extra bolt in them so they don't sit there and drain the entire transmission.
Yeah.
But like, other than the fact that, it was a huge mistake and a big project, have you actually enjoyed the car? That's what I really want to know.
I have enjoyed it. The other weekend, I did take it on. I said, screw it. If the radiator leaks, it leaks. And I drove. It was a good 2-hour drive down to a car show, and not to enter it, but just to drive and drive the car there and spectate the car show, I guess. And yeah, it drove fine. I've enjoyed it. I've gotten weird looks from people not knowing what it is, or thumbs up from people who do know what it is. And yeah, it's It's easy to drive. Obviously, it's an automatic, but it's comfortable to drive. It other than the whole radiator situation and the window not rolling up and down, it works perfectly fine.
I noticed in one of your patron vlogs that there was a lady that drove next to you, and she just gave this weird like look as she drove by.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, but yeah, there've been a few times where like people walking on the sidewalk or something, they tend to give a double take. They don't quite know what it is because it can
It's
be.
those windows.
Yeah, it's the windows. We're like, is that a Lamborghini? No, that's not. What is that?
It's a Subaru.
Subaru. But yeah, I've enjoyed it, and I'm hoping I can enjoy it even more throughout the summer here. And yeah, it's otherwise like it's. I don't. It's no race car, obviously. It is just a comfortable cruiser. I'm not a huge fan of leather seats. It does have the leather interior. They're not the most comfortable thing, but other than that, I've been very happy.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about the best result you could hope for, really.
I really had kind of similar feelings when I got the Audi because that was such a long process to find that car. And then when I got it, I bought that car pretty much sight unseen. A friend of mine bought it from an auction and went there, signed the paperwork, drove it home. And just because of what it is and because of people like ZK that tell me everything German is awful, everything that I heard in that car sounded like it was going to explode and it was awful. So I spent I don't know, like $700 having some professional import only mechanic look at this, friend of a friend, and gave it a once over. But for that entire week up until that was done, I was just like, this was a horrible idea, a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's been a great car. I mean, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and very similar with the Corolla. When I first got the Corolla, I'm like, oh, cool, first classic car. I'll learn how to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then it doesn't. First of all, I'm trying to learn how to drive a stick, so that was frustrating in and of itself. But then the whole carburetor or whatever vacuum line problem it had kept dying on me in the middle of the road. So it's just frustrating to be like, yay, I got this new cool thing. But it's like, no. Hold on there, buddy. We've got some things you gotta endure first before you can fully enjoy this.
Well, that didn't make you quit. Then I think you're bitten for good now. All right. Well, I just wanted to get some updates on that since, like I said, that's our it's not a Datsun. I wish it was a Datsun so it could really be like the Ranwin Park car. But
we got to update the logo. Hold on, everybody.
Rat, we need some help. Well, let's delay no longer. Let's look at the ads of the week with Ranwin Park for the start. And I'm feeling froggy. Let's start with ZK. I don't know why that has anything to do with frogginess, but
So we have not a car. This is a 1985 Honda Magna. It's a
I'm sorry, Magna?
Magna. Magna.
Magna. Not like Magna Flow, not like Magma.
Yep, like Magna Flow without the flow.
Got it.
They want $1,200 for this bike. That supposedly ran when it was parked. And I really like the way this bike is. It's got
I like the way this bike is.
To be honest, I don't know really anything about motorcycles in general.
Likewise.
But I do know the style of motorcycle I like, and this is pretty much that. It's not a huge bike, it's not like your choppers, and it's not a crotch rocket sport bike. But this is a 80s Honda motorcycle, which is like the most reliable thing in the world. And this particular one has a 700cc V4 engine. And they sound really good.
Wow, does it really rev to 10.5 with a V4?
Yep.
That's gotta put some vibrations through your gyrations.
All the better, in my opinion.
Huh. I like the radiator just slapped on the front of the thing.
Mm-hmm. It's got dual disc brakes on the front. It's got it looked like it has the prop drive shaft to the rear instead of a chain or a belt.
Oh yeah, is that what I'm seeing right here?
Yeah,
Huh.
which is like high-end BMW bike stuff.
Interesting.
But the guy wants it's $1,200 OBO, and it ran when it was parked. And like most motorcycles and small engine stuff, it just means it needs a new carb or the carb needs to be cleaned out.
Is it carb? That's a fuel line that's not connected.
Hey, maybe that's why it's not running.
Well, there you go.
And it's got
I
a
can fix
ding in the gas tank. But
Yeah, it's character.
yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Huh. And is it carbureted? I guess so.
Yeah, it's from the 80s. As far as I can tell, they're carbed. But I mean, it looks as far as like the stuff that we've had when it was parked, this is way up there in terms of, it's maybe because it's a motorcycle, it doesn't rust. They probably had it in some guy's living room or something.
I feel like more motorcycles are probably parked for reasons other than them blowing up. Like
Yeah.
physical injury, got really scared because a semi tried to run them over, just don't have time to ride, that kind of stuff. It seems like since it's purely usually a hobby vehicle, a lot of times people are just like, boy, that thing's been sitting for a long time, I should just sell it.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a sob story here saying it was his dad's bike and he doesn't have a place to put it, but whatever. It's a cheap bike that I really like the aesthetic of. And
When you
it
say
sounds
sob
good.
story now, all I can think of is
SAAB story?
yes. Buy our sob. Well, our first motorcycle.
It's the most car motorcycle that, as far as the mechanicals go, of a
Yeah.
motorcycle you can get, it seems.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about bikes, but I like this one.
Do you ride, do you ride bikes at all, or?
No, I've
okay.
never owned a motorcycle. I've never ridden one. I just like the way they sound, and I like the idea of having one. Just, I don't live in the best area that is conducive to riding a motorcycle.
There was a short period of time when I thought that was a cool idea, and that was an extremely short period of time because I hopped on one, didn't get very far, and was like, no, never again. Nope.
I do have weird recurring dreams where I'm on a motorcycle, which is strange. But
are these like Final Destination dreams or?
No, it's more like in the dream. It's like, oh, I left my car at this place. I'll just take the motorcycle instead. And
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, I don't know anything about motorcycles. I did make the joke when I was having the tribulations with the SVX. It's like, well, it could be worse. I could have bought a motorcycle. Just because the very single purpose and, easy ways to die.
That's one off the list. We can say we've had a motorcycle on Ranwin Park now. Now, if you start coming at me with horses, then I'm gonna have to draw a line.
Ranwen parked horse. Bring a forklift.
Only lays now. I cart now. If this is a horse, I'm going to be very surprised.
This is not a horse, but I'm bringing you into an alternate reality where perhaps the Ranwen Parked logo, which we already mentioned, was, instead of a Datsun, was a 1988 Mazda RX7 for only $500. It was in a front-end collision and has been sitting for a long time and growing many various items of foliage and debris. The drive
roots are in there.
yeah. This is about to return to the earth permanently. The drivetrain is all there. The interior isn't too bad. The engine isn't seized, and manual transmission, and no title.
Correct spelling?
Ceased.
No,
That's ceased. Yeah. Like the engine is not ceased.
I think Kurt said it as he meant seized.
Yes.
Yeah, they meant seized, but it says ceased. It has stayed running the entire time. It will never cease.
Yes. It's just slowly spinning. That little Dorito.
Blap, 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 blap.
So yeah, this is
Oh.
a very sad state of affairs. I personally don't know what you guys think about these. This is the second gen RX7. I'm not a fan of this body style over the
Oh,
first.
they're probably my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, second gen's my favorite. I am
it's
sad because so many of them are convertibles.
The first gens are like that classic 70s look. The second gens are that classic 80s look.
Look at the thickness of this spider
You'll-
web.
You'll have to evict the current residents.
Wow. I've never really been in one of these. That cruise control stock is cool. It looks like something you'd see in like an ejection seat for a plane.
Right, yeah, you're arming the missiles or something, yeah.
Oof. Oh, there's your fender. Wait, is that the spider?
Oh god. Don't talk to him. Just leave him alone.
Oh, it has GTU badging. That's cool. That's cool. That price says $3,500.
Maybe that's
Was
how
that
he bought it
before
and
he
then he
wrecked
wrecked it.
Oh, maybe. For those that aren't car nerds like me, GTU was the IMSA class that these cars raced in. And it was kind of like the most junior of the professional racing series. And they had RX7s and 240s and really cool cars that they just don't seem to exist anymore. That's neat to me. Oof, that thing is growing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is there... I don't think there's quite a straight panel on the whole car.
The rear half, like the rear quarters are pretty solid.
Okay, it looked like the rear glass was broken, but I guess
No,
it
I
might
think
not
that's
be.
just spiders.
Spiders. It's just the spiders setting up infrastructure.
Yeah.
There was on that last interior shot, in addition to the cruise control, there's like these red buttons on the side. They look like they're out of an arcade game.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder what those are intended for.
Pinball minigame in the dash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got this kind of like dial headlight switch thing. Weirdly, the first Mark II Supras had this. And then like halfway through the Mark II run, they went to a regular headlight, switch. I can only imagine this is one of those situations where it was like normal drivers were too confused by this non-standard headlight switch that they had to change it. These all had the 13B fuel injection motor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I've always kind of liked them. I don't know. They look pretty similar to a 240. I've always loved this, basic wedge shape.
I mean, it's like the 944 kind of shape.
Yeah. There's so many cars of this shape. The Starion, the 200SX. There's tons.
Yeah, I don't know. I just could never. Whenever I saw this body style, I don't know what it is. It seemed they got a little bit chonky, I think, compared to the first gen, and I'm just like,
And it doesn't have the curves. Like the first generation has curves, and it looks a little bit more like the 240Z.
yeah.
It looks a little bit more European. And then in the 80s, Japan was just like, you know what's in? Lines.
Box flares.
Yep. And I was okay with it. How much? $500. If they hadn't let the thing sit in the ground for 5 years,
Do you
probably
think?
not a unfixable car.
Do you think the block is worth $500? Like just the
Probably
engine?
not anymore. I mean, if it was super sealed from the environment, sure. But they did not tow this thing out of the environment. All right, so far, a motorcycle, a Dorito with spiders, and now a 2004 Dodge Neon SXT. It has a reconstructed title, which I believe is the first time I've ever heard that phrase used. 19,000 original miles, an ATI wide body kit, and an air ride system that needs wiring work. Car was an automatic transmission, but it's been converted to manual. Has a carbon fiber hood that is slotted, and because of those slots, water got down inside and froze up the clutch. Most likely will need a clutch. It ran when parked, but the battery is dead. It won't take a charge. If you'd like to hear it run, please bring your battery. Rear bumper is currently disconnected. Body kit was $2,200 and air ride was $2,000. Firm at $1,800 cash. Up front, no trades, no holds, not parting out.
Ooh.
Just you wait. It looks bad now. I'm sorry. I try to be not this way. Let people, have their style, right? Everyone has their style. This is bad. If you can't see the car, give me your best description of what this car looks like.
This looks like a Neon SRT4, but it's obviously not. But from Need for Speed Underground 2, 1, I forget which one, where you had to have enough points on your car to continue through the campaign mode, and the way you got points was to add stuff to your car, like vents and hoods and body kits and wheels and stuff.
Right.
This
it
looks
was
like
a literal part of the game that you just needed to keep adding parts to your car to make it cool enough. And
yeah,
that
and
really
this
did
looks
trickle
like
down into real cars.
This looks like he pretty much beat the game.
All right, so I've been saving some of the best for last. That is a really grotty interior.
Ugh. In yellow?
Yeah, I guess it was originally a yellow car.
But the exterior is
And-
green, and the body kit is black.
So you remember that Cavalier from a while ago? The Captain America one?
Yes.
Mhm.
This is not that. Like, that car had vision. This car had eBay. And
Yeah.
and I mean, I take some pride in the fact that they had the wherewithal to admit that this awful hood they put on is what broke their car. that takes, some self-deprecating pride there. So, yeah,
I
I'll
think
give them some credit.
Wide body
And the
kit, but the wheels, the axles weren't widened to match, so it's basically just more stuff to hit.
I mean, look at these pieces. They're just like
Fuel doors.
it's not
Large
even
gaping hole.
an attempt to like fold into the body. It literally looks like they just sit on the body.
Yeah.
It's ran when parked. Probably should never run again.
No.
And like it's not even like it's just an SXT. It's not like an SRT4 or anything. Like, that might be worth saving. This is just like a base model Neon.
I mean,
That
the sad thing is how many freaking 2004 Dodge Neons are there with 19,000 original miles on them?
Yeah, that's the
What do you
part
have
that
to do
surprised
in
me. and I don't-
19,000 miles to get like, oh god, those are some hard miles.
I can only imagine they did this like there's two stories here. They're lying, or they did this very early on and broke it very early on, and because it was a Neon, it had no value. Also, excellent time to check the mail.
I don't know. I don't know if this type of person would be the type of person to lie, Cone. Not jumping to any conclusions or making any wide-arching assumptions about their personality.
Wide arching.
Where do I submit my resignation?
You're stuck here. You're a prisoner.
Although I don't know, you're on thin ice bringing a motorcycle to a car show.
It's true. It's true. Can't believe you. All right. Well, that was a different Ranwood Park. No old cars, really.
No.
Although I just aged the shit out of myself. When you call,
I guess these were like 30 years old.
yeah, when you call a 1980, what was it, 1985 RX7 not old? Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
moving right along. I've made a mistake, and we all make mistakes. What mistake DK make? This is a mistake that
Ooh.
I have no problems believing for ZK.
This is a 1995 Impala SS, which is the B-body Caprice
I'm sorry, can you
platform.
read the whole title?
1995 SS Impala DGGM new interior custom roofs.
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 For $8,000.
You're gonna have to sell this one to me.
This Impala runs flawless. No lights, no issues. Pics speak for themselves. Minor cosmetic on the outside, brand new rims and tires. Lots of work put in it, just getting bored with it. Stays in the garage, maybe someone else can enjoy it. New interior, it's all like one sentence. It's really hard to keep up. New interior, custom new double-din sunroof. A double-din sunroof? What?
I think you're adding
new
in there.
double. Yeah.
Oh, those
There you
are
go.
the roofs from the title. The
Oh,
roofs,
new
multiple.
roofs. New double sunroof, custom 9-inch radio. Maybe that's why, because it was the sunroof radio. The double din sunroof radio. 22s in tires. No issues with car besides some women backed into it. Now I haven't.
Wait, again with the
Some
plural.
woman.
Some women, multiple women.
Some
back
women.
into it.
Oh,
Women.
sorry, my bad. I'm having very hard reading comprehension issues tonight.
Well, there's not a single period in this entire paragraph.
Yeah, zero punctuation. Anyway, we'll consider trades.
The bodywork barely noticeable.
Barley.
You get your hops and your barley and your double sunroofs.
All right, now we were told the pictures would speak for themselves. There's your double sunroof that, by the way, is the size of one normal sunroof.
Mhm.
Your seats with the, what's that called? Like diamond stitch, I think?
Mhm.
Yeah, the diamond pleating or whatever.
Yeah. There's your, hey, it's got a double din radio.
Yeah, like that's probably what was in my brain. I was like, oh, that's actually kind of a nice Pioneer radio.
Oh, look at that custom interior.
Yeah, all the Impala SS stitching, custom matched front and back.
Boy, this is the picture they should have led with. It looks a lot nicer in this picture, even though those wheels are. I guess this is pre-damage or something.
None of the pictures showed any kind of. He said it got backed into or whatever, but none of the pictures show anything. He said it was real minor.
That one picture was in the parking lot of the sunroof establishment that did the sunroof installation, it seems.
Ah,
There was the pink, what is that?
I think it says
sunroofs
fangs.
and more.
Fangs.
Oh yeah, pink
Pink
fangs.
fangs, sunroofs, and more. What? Is this where the women's were?
Yes.
Well,
And for those at home that we haven't really touched on that the car is on 22-inch wheels, and it's not donked out, it's not lifted, but
no, it's just rubber band tires.
yeah, just rubber band tires. But in my opinion, other than those tires, it's pretty good.
And
I have
probably
a-
the double sunroof.
Yeah, I do have a
That's
little
gonna be
hesitation
problems.
about a custom sunroofs because those
I don't know. That
last
looks
long.
like a pretty reputable establishment. Does that say will not trade for gold? No. Okay. All right.
They will.
Oh, buddy.
Honestly, after having y'all here, I've realized so many more things about this, and maybe I won't make this mistake. But
Yeah, I'm gonna say this one was miscategorized.
I don't know. I like Impala SSs, and anytime one pops up, 22s or not, I'm interested in them. And I actually like the custom interior work, like the seats and stuff.
Sure.
Mm.
I wouldn't mind seeing like a Roadmaster Impala SS up. Like I think that would be cool.
Yeah, and that's if and when I make that mistake, the first thing I would do is get the Impala SS wheels for it.
Can you actually like change over the whole nose, or is the nose actually not that different?
It's pretty much just the grill. But yeah, basically it's the grill and the bumpers are, like the Roadmaster has all the chrome on it, but they're the same otherwise. But I've seen a couple of those because they have like the Caprice wagon for a few years.
Yeah.
And they've done the Impala SS treatment on those, and it looks pretty good. And it's always been weird that Impala has always had its own badging.
Yeah, that weird. Well,
the Gazelle.
The Impala, yeah.
Yeah, the Impala.
Gazelle.
Yeah, it's basically the Gazelle.
I don't think you're making that mistake. I'm calling you out.
I'll think about it.
All right. Well, you let us know how Pink Fangs did. I'm curious to see if this video gets demonetized for saying that phrase.
Also available as an audio podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Wait, what?
An alternative to YouTube in case it gets demonetized.
You just ruined my brain on that one. I was still thinking of the pink things. I thought they had their own show.
Maybe we can do a cross promotion.
Now, the most at risk of making mistakes, as we found out, Kerchamak.
Ah, yes, I forgot what I chose, but from the same era as the SVX, mind you.
How dare you?
How dare I? What?
You may not steal my mistake ideas.
Next, how about a Subaru Brat? A 1995 Nissan 300ZX slick top. A slick top. I had no idea this was even an option, but apparently the base option of your 300ZX does not have a T-tops or sunroof or anything, and I honestly much prefer that. Like, okay, the SVX has a sunroof. I don't care to get a sunburn on the top of my head, just like I'm not really into convertibles or anything. But yeah, this showed up on the old Craigslist, and I do like the, what is this, Z32?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very unsure about all these different body model designations. But yeah, this one.
I'm just keeping myself at ease right now. Hold on, just keep going.
He's keeping himself at ease. He's fanning himself down. But yeah, and then it just looks good for $7,000. That seems, it's non-turbo, obviously. And apparently, according to the description, the last year of the ODB1, which I don't know why that would be a selling point, but it's just a black 300ZX slick top. A very descriptive description of all the things. Different head unit, it looked like, but 161,000 miles. I would make this mistake.
I think you could probably say this is exactly the same style of mistake as the SVX. Because it's a fantastic automobile, a wonderful cruiser. Like they are just awesome on the highway and that kind of stuff. But if there was ever a vehicle that was made to be as overly complicated as possible for no reason, it was these.
At least this isn't the twin turbo version.
A lot of the description covers a lot of the things that you have to do. And I think the fact that this list of things here is the stuff you usually have to do with these pretty much says it all.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like, they're great cars, but they have a lot of problems that are fixable, but it just adds up so fast.
It said it had a roof rack, an OEM roof rack.
Wow. I guess because it was OEM Japanese Nissan roof rack.
I didn't see that in any of the pictures.
It does have the newer, or the Japanese nose on it. So this is an original nose.
Yeah,
It's
there's been some
nice.
modifications done.
Yeah,
Yeah, slick top is a reference to these because most of them are T-tops.
yeah.
Same goes for MR2s. You'll hear those referred to as slick tops because most of them are T-top or sunroof cars.
And it is hard to find these that haven't been completely, taken apart and modified too far. That would need to be pulled back. So, yeah, I thought.
Or a lot of like the NA cars just got like left out and abused, and they're all horribly faded paint and different tires and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just can't explain to you how much I love this rear profile of these because there's not any other cars that really went for this with this huge C-pillar thing that like wraps into the hatch. Everything down to here is hatchback.
I just realized
it's
that the fuel
cool.
door is like right there, right behind the actual driver door.
Oh, Dodger 240 top tip. If you're ever trying to identify if a 300Z is a 2-seater or a 4-seater, the gas door on the 4-seaters is behind the wheel arch.
Hmm.
There you go. Also, they look really goofy.
Okay, no, never mind. That is different. I was going to say you were talking about the shape, and I was like, isn't like a Corvette kind of the same? But they don't have the giant C-pillar.
Yeah, it's this giant C-pillar that it just becomes all the back end of the car. Like usually it's just this window part that comes down, like on a 240. Like the line is here, but on these the line is here. And you can tell I really like that design because I like the TT so much. And it does the same thing with the hood, where the hood is halfway down the front end of the car.
Oh, yeah. I remember when you were in the garage doing a garage stream, I had it open. I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's not where a hood line should be.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Since the day I started looking for my first car, I have wanted one of these cars. They've always been freaking expensive, though.
I've been sufficiently disillusioned about them. They're pretty. Y'all can enjoy them.
Fine, I will.
I'll take my 300ZX and go home.
Yep.
No, but yeah, it is one of those. I don't know how eager I would be to make this mistake. There are certainly mistakes that would line up prior to this. Of course, I probably said the same thing about the SVX before I found the one I found, but yeah, they're those just a cool car. Not fast, particularly not incredibly rare or special, but I do like one thing with the SVX as well is in the mid 90s when they all started putting airbags in the steering wheels is they didn't quite figure out how to integrate the horns. So there's just little horn buttons at the horn buttons at the just at the left and right where your thumb would be. Same thing with the SVX. There's little tiny horn buttons.
Wait, this has that rotary switch too.
Yep. I also had this crazy climate control system that's part of I don't know what you call those, cluster surrounds. Like instead of being in the center. And this was that era where, especially the Japanese cars, they were all doing the driver-focused controls. So it was everything was within driver's reach, and the passenger was left to just ask.
Doesn't that also move up and down with the tilt wheel?
Oh yeah, I think
left
it does.
And right, those left and right pods.
I think
I've seen that.
I think you're correct.
All right. Well, this is this has put me in a crisis. There's still too much money. I've driven them. I've had a lot of time around them. As much as I like them, I still don't think they're worth the money that they fetch. Maybe this one's higher because it's a slick top. I don't know, but $7,000 for a 1995 pretty much normal performance car is still a lot of money to me. I feel like the SVX is more value.
And half the price.
As much as it pains me to admit. Still, I think I get crap for this all the time. I still think that's the prettiest of the Nissan or the Japanese Halo cars. Party car. Leave your hate in the comments. All right, after Kurtz made mistakes for me and himself. What mistakes do I have lined up for this week? It's a two-parter.
Uh-oh.
So first off, the cone ramp truck quest continues. This week I have found a 74 F350 with a wedge-style bed that was a previous modified race car ramp truck. Super cool look. Like I love the look of this one.
Is that a tire rack?
Yeah, tire rack on the top. It's a really short bed because obviously it was made for like dirt track cars, and they're pretty stubby. Like they're not very big. But I'm sure I could shoehorn red on there. But just the way it's like sticker bombed with all the sponsor decals and stuff, and just the whole thing. I want it.
One thing about this that I think makes it a lot cooler than some of the other ones is, like, this is obviously used for racing rather than a lot of ramp trucks or whatever have been used for
Right.
other purposes. This one's actually
this
a race
wasn't
hauler.
used for, a dealership to ship cars around. It's got pedigree. And it's a 390 with a 4-speed manual. I love it. But that's a continuing. That will never probably go away from the shelf. But really, if we're going back to the actual theme, this thing is very cool. This is a 1976 Dodge Colt hatchback for $6,000. I love these, and the Mitsubishi Galant, right?
I think so.
Somebody help me. Anyway, I like these. They are right in that early era of when Mitsubishi and Chrysler were married, but not necessarily admitting it. Like they were producing the same cars, but not telling anybody, essentially. They were trying to hide it. And I don't see a lot of these Dodge Colts or the Mitsubishi versions. This is a later one. This is a 76. Not as pretty as some of the earlier ones, but still very cool. Very, rare. You'll never see another one of these. And this one has a 13B rotary in it. Because if you're gonna have something weird and rare and unusual, why not have a 13B rotary in it? $6,000. It really seems like it's pretty nicely done.
Yes, it is the Galant. I just looked it up.
Cool.
And I feel like with the rotary in this is the closest approximation as you get to like an RX3 and still be able to afford it.
Yes, that is. I didn't think about that, but you're definitely right.
Because it has that whole kind of mini Japanese style, like, muscle car look to it.
Yeah, from the front it looks like a Mach 1 Mustang, kind of.
Yeah, the early ones have a better front, but
Yeah,
the
early ones
overall
are better. But like I said, it's just something you're never gonna see another one. It's not gonna happen. And if you do, you're gonna be like, yeah, well, mine's got a 13B in it. But you're definitely right. An RX2 or an RX3, we're talking put another digit in front of that 6. They are very expensive and hard to find. And they'll probably be like a 12A, an old school rotary too. So I don't know. It's one of those cars that if I was sitting on a pile of cash and I wanted to do something, fun for a summer or whatever, this is a mistake I would make.
I like the exhaust at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah,
the rotary thing. Have you ever noticed that?
No.
Yeah, it's very common. I see it on the
Or is that like
RX7s a lot.
Or is that a triangle-shaped muffler?
No, I think they just because usually these cars don't have, a big box muffler like that. It seems like it doesn't fit, so they just kind of tilt it.
Huh.
Or it's just a look. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll need some rotary fan out there to tell us, because it's super common to see that. Or maybe, here's a theory. If you don't know, rotary engines eat mufflers. because the exhaust temperatures are so high and they do a lot of external combustion. Maybe it's like an ease of access thing. Like they got to change that thing out so much. They're like, well, you might as well have it real easy to get to those clamps.
They could have at least just wiped off the camera before taking these pictures, though.
I know the pictures. It's they got like the whole Jeremy Clarkson Vaseline lens thing going on.
It's a dream sequence.
I really like the Colt logo, by the way.
Because it's
It's
not
like-
a Mustang logo.
Yeah, it's like not a Mustang, it's a Colt.
Not an Impala. It's a different animal.
Rotate on this with an angry rotary rotor character on it.
Get your own custom Ratfink artwork with this one.
It almost looks like it's a comic book thing.
Yeah. Now I want it even more.
I just noticed the huge tacked on tachometer with giant shift light on the left.
I'm sure they didn't do any street racing or anything. How dare you make such a an accusation?
Dare you point these things out?
I'm not going to say that this vehicle also comes from Central Florida, where a lot of that style of stuff happens. But I just thought it was cool.
Gave me some Corolla vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
The color,
Only 'cause
mostly.
it's yellow.
It's any yellow
Yeah.
car. Oh, that reminds me of the Corolla.
Also, just saying, there's a small chance this vehicle is very close to one of our fans here and one of our friends. And please help me. All right, moving right along. Number 3, that category is I know what I have. Last week we didn't know what we had. Or last show we were like, we had 3 cars. I think that were just like, well, I think this is a lot of money, but I don't know. So let's see if we did any better this week.
What we have is a 2006 Hummer H3. A manual transmission one, even.
Those
And they won't.
exist.
Yeah, they did. I forget which engine they have. It might be the quote-unquote terrible i5.
If
But-
it is, then I know all about that transmission because it's the same one that was in the Solstice.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, it's really hard to put this into words, but like these are actually decent. And this is it seems expensive for a H3 with 200,000 miles on it.
Look at that gear shifter.
It's just like covered in a dish rag.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna have to look this up, because if it's the same i5, then that's basically the same as the Colorado, because I think they share the same chassis.
Yeah. The H3 and the Colorado are the same, which means that is 100% the same transmission that was in the Solstice. And it's bad. Maybe it feels better in a truck, but boy, it was not pleasant. So, is this the last Hummer?
Yes. And this one is fairly clean, and there's actually a huge like following around the H3s, because unlike the H2s and even sort of the H1s, they're actually like decent off-road. Because one of the big problems is the H1s are so giant, while the H2s are what are they, like Explorers or not Explorers?
It's a Trailblazer,
Tahoe?
I believe. Tahoe? Maybe it's a Tahoe. I don't remember.
But just a big truck without any. They're just way too big and slow and flamboyant.
I guess I'm wondering, like, as far as they know what they have,
Okay,
are you
listen.
suggesting they don't know what they have, or is 6,700 still too much for a 200,000 mile H3?
It's probably in the range. I don't know.
I mean, to me, just from my personal experience with General Motors vehicles, a 203,000 mile 2000s GM vehicle is probably the biggest nightmare fuel I can think of.
But at the same time, this person obviously has taken care of this, because to have a 200,000 mile truck or car that actually doesn't look worn out is impressive.
Sure, I guess.
Listen, I just like these things, and I needed a segment to fit this in, and I'm sorry, okay?
You're excused.
It is sold as it. It's sold as it. Don't expect it to be anything other than it is as.
I really just wanted to talk about Hummers.
Of course you did.
Don't we all? No, I don't have any opinions on them. I would never own one, honestly.
This is the second time we've heard this phrase this time. Let the pictures speak for themselves.
True, yeah. It's a theme.
Hmm.
Episode title.
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean? I guess that it's clean, I guess? It's clean, but those are some seriously stained carpets underneath of whatever that is.
Yeah,
The brand new floor mats.
Pictures can be very deceiving.
That they can be. Huh.
I don't know.
Well, there you go,
I thought it
ZK.
was a manual Hummer, which was cool.
I guess.
One of these days I'll win you all over.
Maybe. I'm trying to think of anything that you've done that with. Keep trying at it. I believe in you.
We got plenty more weeks.
All right, Kurt. Hey, this is right up your alley.
Yeah. Hey, ZK. Do you know what they have?
Yes, and it's the fourth line in this.
It is
Yes.
What?
the unicorn.
The unicorn.
Ah.
So I get like if you see the words Baja and unicorn, then this means it's the post-refresh manual turbo Baja.
A 2006 Subaru Baja Turbo WRX STI. I think that's just keywords.
Yeah.
For $6,500. I found this after our conversation about I should just since I have an SVX, I should just get all the weird late model Subarus, and the Baja is certainly up there with that. The kind of a attempt to resurrect the Brat.
Don't you say it.
Oh,
Don't you say it.
It is. It's
There's so little Brat in this.
right, but that was what they were thinking. You imagine.
It's literally the same as a Brat.
It's 4 doors. It's gigantic. And it's not a Brat.
And it's the all-wheel drive truck version of the car they already sold. They just can't put the seats in the back anymore.
Well, that's their fault.
That's their fault for exploiting that part of the tax loophole. Yeah, I mean, these are neat. I was more or less looking at just like an old Outback or Legacy GT or something like that, and these always pop up. Again, the Pacific Northwest is Subaru City out here, so see quite a few of these. Probably not the turbo manuals, but see quite a few still Bajas tooling around the city. And this one was very interesting.
I don't even know if I've seen one on the road, or it's been like once a year, if that. But yeah, I like them.
Smile Forever Dental.
Does that not sound like threatening?
I think what that is actually a mortuary.
Oh, man. I mean, the owners of 2 Subarus and an Evo 8 or whatever are probably going to be customers pretty soon. That's a stab at people that own Subarus and Evos.
No, there's even in that last Patreon vlog of me driving the SVX, I get passed by a Baja, so they're around.
I'd buy this.
Yeah, my roommate is very much so into these, and he would buy this.
I guess having never priced them is $6,500.
That's low, like for the turbo manuals, which are basically a WRX. Yeah, these usually go for quite a bit more than that, like closer to 10. I usually see them
that's
listed between 10 and 12.
Oh, a
That's why.
rebuilt title.
Yep.
Womp womp.
Which, I mean, if it's
I mean-
nicely done and it's cool, then I don't have a problem. I've never had a problem buying a rebuilt title car. If it's something that I really want, but can't really afford, that's a good way to go. As long as you got to be really into the research, though. You got to figure out why, how it was fixed, where it was fixed, or who it was stolen from, how much blood was involved. These are the things you got to find out.
As a man who's had a car that was 2 cars glued together with a clean title,
Yeah.
I don't trust none of this.
Yeah. I don't know. You'll probably be smiling forever, though. I don't know what they have with this. I really don't. I don't know how much they're worth. It seems like a lot of money for what is now 15-year-old car, and is a Subaru with 167,000 miles on it, but I don't know.
Have you priced like mid
No, because
2000s
I've
WRXs?
never wanted one of these because they're not brats. I'm a curmudgeon. I can't even stand to look at it any longer. I don't know why. They just make me really angry.
They make a lot of people. Well, a lot of people hate the Baja. It's really strange.
All right, I've got to do some like acting for this one. So you got to put myself into a role.
Quiet on the set.
Because, yep, I know what I have. 1977 BMW 630 CSI. Imported from Europe, garage kept from original owner. From 1979 to 2018. My fiancé, the second owner, purchased from a longtime family friend, neighbor's estate, along with his Maserati. This vintage beauty is a rare treasure. Runs like new, manual 5-speed, sunroof, power windows, upgraded, driver and passenger front seats, power steering. Don't know if that's upgraded or not. Tires are in great condition, upgraded rims, classy baby blue. There are minor signs of rust along the bottom and a small leak that could be easily fixed via the sunroof or the seals along the windows. All original records and manuals, receipts, etc. Title in hand. Asking $9,999. Serious inquiries only, please. I don't think I've ever read a classified ad for somebody more obnoxiously proud of their car before. Or name dropping that they purchased it from somebody that had a Maserati also?
Yeah, like what does that prove?
What?
That just shows how poor their decision making is.
I mean, but they're like purchased from a longtime family friend / neighbor's estate, which I don't know the correlation there, along with his Maserati. Why?
So his neighbor died and he bought his car.
Basically. But
One way to keep up with the Joneses.
and like just the my fiance, like with the accented E on that.
Well, it was imported from Europe. You have to use those
I also-
right.
accents.
I really
tildes.
like the custom license plate. It
Oh,
tells you what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, the shame is I really like these cars. Probably one of my favorite BMWs, but if this is what owning a BMW is like, then I don't want it.
I want no part of that.
Yeah, that's not me. That's the only picture I grabbed because honestly, it was the text that really sold it or
And those are
didn't sell it.
awful. Those are awful wheels.
Yeah, they're not good.
Yeah, no,
but
they're
they're
not
upgraded.
fit.
What's with the extra lights on their front bumper? Are they like hazard
I don't know.
lights? They're not really fog lights.
They're definitely the color of like the amber of a turn signal.
Are there upgraded seats?
Yeah, those are like advanced auto parts
Excuse me,
knockoff.
sir. They're upgraded.
For the
Oh, it
passenger
did say
and the
upgraded,
driver.
yeah. So you're telling me this was imported from Europe, was original owner, kept in a garage from 1979 to 2018, and in the span of, 6 months, we've managed to throw in cheesy aftermarket seats and wheels that don't fit. Great. That's great.
I want to know what happened between 1977 and 1979. There's a bit of time missing there in your little history report there, sir.
It's a long boat trip.
Yeah.
No, that's only when it was in the garage. He just left it outside for those first 2 years.
Right, yeah, you gotta let it. I don't know.
Age,
yeah. You gotta let it bloom and blossom out in the sun.
It's got a cure in the sun.
Cure. That was the word.
I had like this physical reaction to you saying bloom in that context.
We're going very long. So let's get to Cube's corner. This one is titled Yank Tank Sweet Spot, and I don't know what that means.
So, you're interested in old cars and you're looking at an American vehicle. Keep in mind there's a sweet spot for this. 1962 to 1972. Any earlier, things get a bit archaic, and you'll probably want to change stuff to make it usable. Any later, and the quality really goes to hell. If you're not married to a brand, keep in mind it's going to be easier to run a Ford or a Chevy than a Chrysler, and certainly much easier than say something an orphan like a AMC or a Studebaker. The big cars tend to be cheaper than the midsize, and something like a 65 Impala or a Galaxy of the same year, sub $5,000 for a driver that you can use right off the hop, and you've got all the aftermarket in the world to make it better if you want. Just my 2 cents.
So this time around, some insight from Cubes.
Insight
About
and
things-
advice.
Yeah.
Some things that will probably never apply to me. Probably speaking to Kurt mostly.
True, yeah.
It's kind of interesting because, like you said, there's the sweet spot for old American muscle where, like, you know, you have all the parts in the world in jegs that fit on that. And if you get too far outside of that, stuff gets really difficult. Like, when I'm looking for parts for a theoretical Roadmaster, there's not a lot of B-body parts, like late model B-body parts. But this whole thing also reminds me of like Hondas and Civics. Like there's a sweet spot between like 87, 88 up to like 2000, I think, before the 7th gen came out.
Sorry, I just feel a little personally attacked.
Where before that, like, stuff was, like he said, archaic, and after that, a lot of the Honda stuff got a lot more Lego. Like, they shared more parts between each other. You can put 6th gen parts on your 5th gen car or whatever.
The Supra is a great example of that too, whereas the Mark II from 85 is just like an absolute crapshoot to find any parts for it. The next year, in 86, there's not a single part for that car you can't find.
It's got to be like with everything almost, but I mean, I don't know. It's good advice, Cubes. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything to add other than like, I mean, looking at cars, I've always looked like, okay, the popular, like a Falcon or whatever. If you want to save a few bucks, try to find a Comet or a Fairlane or something like that that might not have the same badge notoriety. But I don't know what that means for parts or ease of maintenance or anything like that. So I'm
sorry, this is how you ended up with the Subaru SVX?
I know, right? Yeah, I'm not exactly going for the most popular and most widely available examples. I like to keep it weird. So
yeah, that's the problem. The mainstream stuff, yeah, it's easy. But you know what? Easy means common. And being common doesn't feel good.
Put that on a t-shirt.
It's a weird problem though, because the more money you have, the easier it is to get something that's really nice. And I feel like people still tend to gravitate towards like the really nice common thing rather than spending, a bit more money for the weird thing, and it's going to cost more to maintain it. But then you have something that's a little bit more you. It's a little bit more unique, but that doesn't seem to be the direction people tend to go. And that's why when you go to any cruise-in or regular car show, it's the same exact crop of cars for the last 20 years. Try harder, people. Find a radiator for your Subaru SVX.
Yes. Make more mistakes.
All right, thanks for the advice, Cumes. I will promptly ignore that and buy a 1974 F350 Ram truck. Now, I've always heard the trucks are like always 10 years behind anyway, so I think I'm good. All right, now we move on to the best ads of the week, and we start with ZK. Holy cow.
With my 1978 Ford E350, which is not much of a van anymore. For those at home, what we're looking at is basically if you took a van and you took the van away and you replace it with planks of wood.
I was wondering how you were going to describe this.
And literally everything has been replaced with wood, and it's amazing.
Wow.
This would be good advertising for like a fencing business. Is that plexiglass so you can see inside the engine?
Yep.
Yeah.
Dash is wood.
Wow.
The front is wood. The back
This
is
is
wood.
like down here at the bottom. This is like dental molding, and around the headlights.
Smile forever.
The steering wheel is wood.
The steering wheel and the gear.
Yeah.
Whatever
Oh
that's
yeah,
called
this
right
is
there.
also a manual transmission.
It's on the tree. This
Mhm.
light. Oh, it's 70 something, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed. The exhaust isn't wood. Oh man, look at the splash from the wheels has caused the bottom bits of wood to start to rot.
So you just replace it. It's a very ecological car.
So do you just like drive this into Home Depot and like, hey guys, I need a right rear quarter panel? Huh.
Oh wow.
That is
Is that the door knob?
latch.
Oh, latch.
Latch.
It's a big sliding piece of wood.
Yep. And they've come through and added like little slats in between to try and like keep the outside out. Here's the part I haven't gathered just yet. This turquoise part is a steel exoskeleton frame, I think. That's not wood.
Correct.
Right.
I think this is really impressive.
And as
I
far
realize
as
it's silly and impossible to use, but
and in some ways horrendously ugly.
oh yeah, it's not pretty. But craftiness wise, pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. The worst part about this is I don't normally take ads that are posted by dealerships that this one was.
You're kidding me. What did they trade in for?
I have no idea. But there's literally zero information that they have posted up for this. Oh, go back one. There's some dash plate of probably the guy who made it.
Where?
Oh,
right
yeah, right
there.
next to the radio.
Nah, not enough pixels.
Yeah.
They need that BMW CSI to tell us what's going on here.
Enhance. But
Wow.
as far as a flat-sided wood truck thing, it seems fairly well done. I'm still processing this thing.
I feel like, Paul, a good friend of ours, has a E-Series van that he's been quote-unquote restoring. I feel like if we let him continue the track that he's been going down, something like this could happen.
I like how the windshield
And-
wipers really have no coverage.
Look at this! Spare tire well.
Is that the spare tire? Is it where the gas tank is?
That's spare tire all day long, every day. That's
But
gotta be
where's
right.
the rest of the tire? How do you get it out?
It's built in, like it goes under. Sorry, I'm looking for other pictures.
There wasn't really many.
It's great.
Even the license plate frame is wood.
Yeah. But a nice chrome bumper. Huh.
Those open side pipes.
You mean those... Hold on. Those closed side pipes.
Oh, well, true. Yes, they're closed right now.
I guarantee you they have never been open. We don't even know what engine's in it. I saw through the plexiglass that it didn't look like it was a factory something. It looked...
Yeah, it's just a
It's
Ford
got like
V8.
aluminum... But it's got aluminum like intake on it.
Is that the
So-
intake or the valve cover?
That's
the valve cover.
Valve cover.
You think that's valve cover?
Yeah, the red part's the intake.
Oh, this is intake over here. Sorry, it's kind of disorienting looking through a window in the transmission tunnel.
I see the little black pool noodle to kind of seal things up there in the upper right-hand corner of the window.
Oh, yeah.
I have those.
So-
I've seen those.
So between the pool noodles and the extra slats on the doors, it seems like someone's actually driven this around long enough to figure out, oh yeah,
Well, I mean,
we
the-
should fix that.
This thing's, I mean, it's gotten, water up into the wood in the back, so yeah, I feel
So
like
it's
somebody
been
drove
used.
this thing.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the crash safety of this is?
I'm just imagining, you know how when we put a lot of fixtures on an automation car, and then it crashes in BeamNG and everything just pops off? Like, this thing gets hit, you're just going to see like a poof of sawdust and planks going everywhere.
Has a rating of Splinter.
I wonder if they had this sunroof done at Pink Things. Oh man, that's great. That's the best stuff right there.
And they only want 10 grand for it.
Sold. Somebody, not me. Kurt Jimek, what?
Oh
What?
my god.
This is hilarious. We went from a wood box to a plastic bubble. You've got yourself a 1967 CUDA for only $13. I think $13,000 they want. But the thing that drew me to this ad and why it is the best is because it's a bubble boy. It lives in a bubble.
What?
And they didn't take it out of the bubble to take pictures for their ad trying to sell their CUDA.
Wow.
This is absolutely amazing.
I had no idea this was a thing.
I've
Is
heard
this a thing?
I've heard, the phrase like buy it off the lot, stick it in a bubble or something just to collect value or whatever. I didn't know there was literal bubbles.
There's no mention of the bubble either in the ad, which makes it all the more interesting. But this thing has been hermetically sealed from the outside world. Yeah, it exists. A car capsule. Like,
I want to know how much those are.
yeah, I might
And
be
it's
needing
not.
one.
What's really bizarre is this is not an original car. Like this is not something somebody rolled off the lot and put in a bubble. This thing's had work done to it. Like it's got an aftermarket hood. It has apparently a 498 stroker engine and a changed transmission, and it's been like prostrated out, and yet it's in a bubble.
They're about $500 on Amazon.
That's less than I expected.
Wait, we need the affiliate link.
Yeah. Wow.
It also, I don't know, it also has like a car cover wrapped up inside the car
Yeah.
in that one picture.
Well,
So it's like, that's not enough. Wait a minute, we need bubbles.
Just in case the power goes out.
Yeah, in case deflation
Yeah, how
happens.
long does it stay inflated?
I mean, it looks like it's got a constant power source.
Yeah, that might be like a little fan. Like, I don't know if any of you I know at the Mindcrack Marathon and stuff, the dinosaur costumes and stuff, but there's always a little fan that's constantly blowing in pressure. I think that's what that is.
I like how timid they are to use the old whippersnipper near this thing. That's a weed eater for you and us Americans out there.
I wonder, might have to buy one of these.
I mean, do they have like a half-size one so you can put the cappuccino in it?
No, this would be for the 240 actually.
No, I was thinking like the HOA is real upset about the Saab, right? They can't complain if it's in a bubble.
It's in an enclosed enclosure.
Yeah.
It's like the kind of thing, like a dust cover for a model car that you would like, a diecast car. I just thought it was hilarious.
And it is.
It is.
It's funny if you Google it, like 75% of the pictures are Corvettes in these things.
Of course. All right. Well, I feel like I can't compete against these this week. However, we're gonna start getting real sad, or at least I am, because I have the Dottlebug. Or do you think it's Doodlebug?
I
How do we want to say
It
that?
should be Doodlebug, but it's certainly spelled Dottlebug.
Okay. Here's where it gets sad. This Dottlebug is a $2,200 1986 Subaru Brat frame, 4-wheel drive, 4-speed, runs and drives, no title, buggy.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, along with ramp trucks, I am constantly looking for Subaru Brats. And I've recently come around to the idea of getting a second-gen Brat with the square headlights and converting it to a round headlight Brat.
Whoa, that's some just balderdash and hearsay
I
coming
know.
from you, Cone Dodger.
I know. And
He's getting real desperate.
Yeah.
and in that, I type in Subaru Brat, and this happened. Do you see what's really sad?
That the seats are facing the wrong
The
direction.
jump seats are facing forward.
That's a real travesty here.
Yeah. Other travesties.
The wheels on backwards.
The rear wheels are on backwards to give it a wider track in the back, I'm guessing.
Oh,
And it's
look,
a round headlight Brat.
It's a Subaru. It's a Baja.
Yeah, it's got the Baja tags on the back lights.
Oh.
See, they're all related. Yeah, it's like
No.
they turned it into a golf cart.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I hope it was something that was rusting away and someone was like, hey, this would be funny.
It really looks like it was probably not worth saving. But since this is technically a Subaru Brat, is this street legal?
I don't see. I mean, it's got tail lights. It's got tail light. It's got headlights.
Maybe it just
I
needs
guess
some
you technically
wipers.
could. And I can tell you this is from the part of the country where they're probably not gonna care.
Bet you somebody drives around that little tiny motorcycle on the streets.
Yeah. Oh man. Ma, put some pants on for these ads. Oh man. Oh, it's so sad.
That is.
Are they walking a cat?
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
there's a leash there, and that is a
That's
very.
got to be a cat.
They've also got
Yeah.
a bus in the background.
They've got a bus. They've got the
Couple
box
trailers.
truck. This is
A corrugated building on a
I
trailer.
was gonna say there's an
Mhm.
an outhouse on a trailer.
Yep.
That
Well, I feel like our best ofs this week were really damn good.
Yes. Oh, it's got
I
the
feel
big
like we've
the
done
light
well.
bar that's like wider than the entire car. It's
Mm-hmm.
an off-roader now.
Like it's got to be a windshield and stuff out of a golf cart.
Yeah. Though this might actually be kind of fun if it was, running correctly.
Well, what makes you think it's not running correctly?
Runs and drives.
Well, it's the grass is not grown around it,
Yeah.
so it moves, and it's got mud on it. So it's
$2,200 is out
it's-
of the range of I would buy this just for the lulz. But
Yeah, if this was like $500, that'd be a real good deal.
I feel like this is one of those things. If you could buy this for $500, make one YouTube video out of it, and then scrap it, you would probably get your money back. But maybe not at $2,200. All right. Well, good times. Good times.
Good and then sad times for one
And sad.
Subaru Brat.
Very, very sad times. But hey, it's a round headlight brat. My dreams are fulfilled. Honestly, this is the first one I've found in ages. But
did you find one though? Really?
Well, it's a brat and it has round headlights. Oh man!
Still has the jump seats.
Hopefully, Kurt J. Max backup recording saves me this week since I apparently don't have it. And I hope you enjoyed, as always. And I would like to give a quick reminder or maybe an announcement that we also have a Instagram. The Win Parked Instagram account is run by, I would say us, but it's really run by the person you don't hear behind the scenes that probably does more than us. But we do contribute some of the ads we find from the internet that maybe don't have enough about them to make it on the show, or best of things from the show, and we put them on there for your quick entertainment. So give that a follow, and we will see you next time. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna go back into my bubble now.